How's it guys, Stefan here. So we're back with episode 2 of Project 324K, my BMW E36 Honda K24 powered build. It's quite a mouthful. When looking over both cars, we didn't really take a detailed look into the grey car yet, because I know the condition of the car. I've known that car since my parents-in-law had it. The blue one is obviously the one that I bought. Just a bit of history on that car. So I bought the car from a guy in Joburg who bought the car from someone in Cape Town, and I think in Cape Town is where the car was being built, or where the build started. I'm not 100% sure. I just think that when the second guy bought the car, he probably saw it's got more issues than he's got time or money for, and he probably just sold it on, not really stating what the issues were, because I'm sure it's something that he would have known if he bought the car. And then my fault as well. I looked at the car and everything kind of looked, I knew it was a project car, but it looked decent on the surface. Excuse all the puns because the surface rust. So the car looked decent on top, but yeah, it was quite rotten at the bottom. And I didn't really have the time or all the tools and stuff to kind of strip the car ready before viewing it to see all those problems. So I kind of took his word that he said the car is a project, but it's in decent condition. I just gave it a quick overlook on top and it looked quite alright. But yeah, once it came to Jonathan and we started stripping some of the stuff, we just saw that, yeah, it's quite rough. Very rough. Very, very rough. But anyway, instead of just giving up on the project again like someone else might have, obviously building a K-powered BMW E36 is what I've been wanting to do. So we've just said, we're going to go ahead, we'll roll the punches, look at the problems and just find ways to solve it, find ways to fix it. So what we're going to be doing in this episode is Jonathan's going to be stripping the engine from the blue car, and then we'll start seeing what the condition of the engine is like. Hopefully the engine is good inside. We're not 100% sure because yeah, just from when we started stripping stuff, we started seeing that it's not looking too great. But it's supposed to be a pretty stock motor. It hasn't been turboed or anything, and Honda motors are known to last forever. So we're hoping the motor's in good condition, but we are not sure. We'll also strip the motor from the grey car, just because obviously that motor and that gearbox is being chucked, sold, whatever, and that is where the K series motor will be going into. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode, and if you've got any suggestions or any ideas for me, also just feel free to leave any of those in the comments. Cars.co.za.
Let's find what moves you.
So today was an eventful day. We managed to get the motor and gearbox out of the car. With the motor and gearbox out of the car, we actually saw that our initial inspection of the car was actually quite accurate with the rust that we found in the vehicle. It was actually a lot deeper and a lot more extensive than what we originally found. Also, I'm just glad that we took everything out, and we actually saw a couple of other things that we didn't see on the initial inspection when we received the vehicle. The prop shaft was just hand tight onto the vehicle. The gearbox was only held in with 2 bolts that was hand tight on it. We also found a couple of other pieces that really shocked us, and I thought this far in at a build that nothing would surprise us, but here we are. Like the starter that only had 1 bolt in it and that it's loose and moving around. It's actually quite astonishing that the car actually still started. So the great thing about stripping a BMW or even taking a motor out is that you can actually take the whole cradle out of the vehicle and make it much easier. You don't have to get the car out and have everything tilted to extreme measures, where you can just bolt the whole nose off and you just lift it over the cross member and you can slide the whole assembly out. As you can see, the gents actually move the firewall a lot further back than is allowed in most motorsport legislations and so forth. The reason why they did is to clear the sump over the cross member on the BMW, because the BMWs usually have a rear sump where this motor sits with a front sump. I can see why they did it, but we were worried with the legality about it, especially if you want to go do track days or if you want to enter the car into any racing series, that the motorsport industry would not actually allow that at all. So that was our first concern, that you won't be able to use the car in any series that you wanted to. So now that we can actually see how far they've modified it, so this is the reason why we got the donor car. So now we're going to move everything a lot further forward to where the original motor sat, to get the car's balance also where it was from factory. The E36s came out with a nice balance for front and back, so we're going to try and keep that because your suspension works, everything just works lovely that way. As you can see here, there's an intermediate plate here that bolts to the engine. We call this an adapter plate. Then you have your different bolt patterns that bolts to the engine, and then the gearbox from a BMW that bolts to the adapter plate itself. And as you can see further here, they've spaced out the flywheel to actually be able to get the clutch plate to engage onto the splines of the gearbox itself. This we're going to have to double check because I'm pretty sure that aluminium is not going to be strong enough for the purpose of what we need to do here.
Jonathan, so what are we checking today?
We're just checking the general health of the engine and making sure nothing catastrophic is waiting for us before we start up or anything like that. But we do know the motor was running, so it's not any surprises yet. But it's always safe, rather safe than sorry, I think.
So you've taken off the tappet cover and you're just checking compression now?
Well, we checked compression. The compression seems fine. Got nice suction on it as well. Now we're just checking valve train to make sure we don't have any broken springs or anything funny. The engine just sounds funny because we've got the spark plugs turned out, but all seems okay.
But at least it's probably one of the first good things or decent things we've seen since stripping this car. And
I would say so, yeah. At least it's one silver lining in the cloud that we've seen so far. Now we're going to swing it around and then we're going to quickly check bearings and see what condition they are, so that we don't have to go through all the effort of actually starting the car up and then finding a knock down the road or anything like that. So I think top end is healthy, so we're going to swing it around and quickly check the bottom end. Alright, so we opened the motor to have a quick squiz inside to see if we've got any damage or if all the parts are still intact, like your springs and everything, so we don't have any broken springs or anything like that. The head parts of things actually look fine. Turned the motor around and we opened the bearings to see what condition the bearings are. They are a bit worse for wear. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a complete tear down of the motor and quickly do a mic off the crank and everything to make sure everything's still in spec, and then we'll order some new bearings, and we're going to also have a look at the pistons and rings as well while we're at it. So we're going to refresh this baby up and then we aim for away. So next is going to be this old girl, where we're going to start stripping this one. It's going to be more or less the same as what you saw with the previous vehicle, but this one is going to be more from the OEM stance of things to do. BMW, the engines come out very easily. They've actually thought of everything. Out of all the vehicle manufacturers, I think BMW has really gone the extra mile, and the engineering team and the mechanical team is sitting in the same office.
Jono, yeah, motor's out of the car,
Eventful.
and yeah, we know there's some damage to the motor, so
Some issues, yeah.
our hopes of it being in great condition is not so great anymore.
Look, we always knew the chance of it opening it up and it being a lucky packet is always there. especially seeing the condition of the rest of the vehicle with the rust marks and all that, and the shortcuts have been taken. I think we always knew, but we were hoping for the best.
There were some signs.
There were some signs.
So yeah, I mean, our next steps is obviously we can look at fixing whatever's wrong in this motor, but then
I think the costing on to fix this one, and seeing that you went on a whim and decided that midway through a build that we're going to turbo it, the next step would be to get some forged pistons and rods, just for safety factors. Not that we're going to push that much horsepower, because it's going to be a nice street toy. We don't want 1,000 horsepower out of it, but I still think around about 500 or 600 horsepower is going to be plenty of fun for you, and then we can always detune it until you can get to grips with the handling of the vehicle. But you did mention something about you've got a friend that might be selling a K24 that's already built.
yeah, indeed. I mean, that's one option. He took it out of a four-wheel drive Honda Civic. So obviously the motor is like the intake manifold and exhaust manifold is built for like a front-wheel drive setup.
It's not an issue there. We can always change or make new ones.
But the nice thing with that motor, I know the history of that motor. I know he's built it properly. It's got all the right parts in. He's got some stuff that needs to be fixed on that motor as well.
But that can save us a little time.
And at least I know all the right parts are in there, and that can save us a lot of time, obviously buying more parts, and then also now even waiting for parts, because some of the parts, although
just to get a cam for this motor, you saw that the cam is scorched and it's got some marks on it and everything. I wouldn't trust to re-weld it and grind it, so it's on the hunt for new cams. So
and I've already asked a few guys,
and nobody's got.
No one's got. Pistons are easy, we can order, but yeah, a lot of the stuff that we need is stuff that
nobody wants to get rid of.
And I mean, the other option is getting another K24 motor, but then again, we don't know the condition.
But then it's throwing money into a problem that we don't know how deep it goes. I think maybe contact a friend of yours and then we see what condition or what he wants for that motor. Maybe that's a better buy, and then we just do the small alterations on that it needs, and then we back on course, because to go through this now with all the strip bolts and everything on that engine that we already found, I mean, I showed you.
That's terrible.
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
So maybe contact your friend and see if we can get a hold of that motor, and then we weigh our options. See what that's going to cost, and see. I'll do some sums to see what that's going to cost to forge this one, and then we can weigh them out.
At least you can blame me wanting to go turbo on our stupid high sea level here. It's not my fault that we're so high about sea level. I think an NA motor was gonna not make near as much power, and even if you see the throttles and stuff, you're just gonna throw money at making more than power.
Decent power, but I'm a turbo guy.
Yeah.
It's just
you want those sounds.
There's all those wishy boy noises.
I think it's good.
Okay.
So guys, check back soon.
It's gonna get interesting.
We're gonna have to make a decision now. Do we build this motor, or do we buy another motor
and bullet and buy another one?
Build that motor. So either build or bolt. But one good thing of all these issues we're finding, it's lots of good content. It would have been pretty boring.
If everything was just perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's nice to show the guys nothing ever goes to plan.
That's definitely that's in all aspects of life.
I tell you.
Very much in the car industry and the modified industry, things don't. You buy things and you get told it's got this in, or you buy things and you think it's good, and it's not. And
you know what? When you do a project and everything runs butter smooth, you're always in the back of your mind. Okay, everything's been going so well up to now. What's gonna break or what's gonna happen? So there's always something.
And bad things normally happen in threes. So.
Well, we've had more than threes.
Yeah. I think we're good. I think
we're good for the rest of it.
Yeah, cool. Let's see what happens.
Lekker.
Cheers, guys.
See you in the next one.
Let's find what moves you. Cars.co.za.